Hello YouTube, Ashton Colby here, and I wanted to make this video, first start off by saying that I'm going to be at St. Louis Pride this weekend, and I was at Columbus, Ohio Pride, which was awesome. If you don't know about Columbus, Ohio, it's so queer and has like over 100,000 people that come out for Pride and is one of the biggest prides in the Midwest and in the country. And people think of Ohio, they think of cornfields, but Columbus, Ohio is like one of the top 15 biggest cities in the US, bigger than San Francisco even. And so that pride, if you are in that area and you like need a little like queer pocket um, of community, like Columbus, Ohio is someplace to check out. So anyway, I'm gonna be at St. Louis Pride coming up this weekend, and a few of you came up to me and said hi when I saw you at Columbus Pride, and it's just been awesome because I'm gonna sit like this. I've been seeing a lot of people. I don't know. I've just been doing a lot of really cool events like the Transphobia Health Conference and Prides and all the things, and it's just been really awesome because I feel like that I'm getting more and more involved in the community, and I'm really finding a place. And but yeah, so but I want to talk about pride and in general, just about the dynamics of, I can't find a place I want to sit, just like the dynamics of pride, because I feel like that, okay, I'll say this. When I was at the Columbus, Ohio Pride, it's a really big pride. There's so many people there, and I had never marched in a parade before. I'd never done that before. So I marched with Trans Ohio, which is an awesome organization. You all should check that out. I marched with Trans Ohio, and I had my shirt off, and I still have like some visible like top surgery scars, and like I'm marching with trans pride flags, and I'm cheering and all the things, so I'm like a visible like trans person. And I'm proud of my transition, and I'm proud of where I am and all those things. And I think that like I definitely I wouldn't have marched if I didn't want to march and be proud and be out and visible and these things like that. But also at the same time, I had a lot of anxiety about just, I feel like that the majority of the people that come to Pride events are white, cis, gay men that are affluent in their, they usually have a decent amount of money and things like that. Like that would be a very large group of people that come to Pride. And there is definitely I feel like that I've experienced a lot of transphobia from that group of people, and there's not as much of a place for trans people, people of color, people that aren't able-bodied, all those types of people in a pride event. We have not, as a community, been able to integrate all of those aspects and really show the grounding diversity of what pride is for. Because if you go back to the Compton ride and Stonewall and all those things like that, if you go back to those really grassroots grounded riots, the people that were in those riots were trans women of color that were way more marginalized people than white, gay, cis men. And when we have these pride events that are kind of like commemorating Stonewall and those things, we lose who was really at pride, or like who was really at the Stonewall and who was really there, and it does not mirror why we have these pride events now. It's to kind of commemorate and look back and see how far we've come, but also where do we need to move forward to. And there's not a big enough push for, like, at these pride events and in the parades and things like that, there's not enough presence of trans women of color, and there's not enough presence for trans people in general. There's not enough presence for different races, ethnicities, all of those things. There's not a presence of those people. One, I think the thing is that trans people, they're there, but even myself, why I think this is an issue is because even myself, a person who someone would consider has a successful transition, and I have all the privilege that comes with a successful transition, and I pass the cis and all of these things, but even myself, I was nervous being a visible trans person in a pride parade because I know that there is still transphobia within cis gay men and cis people in general, whether they be in the queer community or not. And so if you take a non-passing trans woman of color and things like, and put them and offer the opportunity for them to march in a pride parade, it takes so much more courage, and it's probably way more, I cannot speak for their experience, but I would assume that it would be much more scary to put yourself out there and be that visible, you know, walking down the street, whether it be at a pride parade or not, because of the harassment and daily violence, because there's still a clash between the trans community and the gay community, and there's still gay cis people that think trans is a sexuality and don't view trans people as, like, wow, there are straight people in the LGBT community. What? And they're not allies? Wow, you can be transgender and you can be straight and you can be like, and these things that, like, oh, and you can be a gay trans person, you can be a trans guy that likes dudes and be gay. Like, there's still not a, people don't even see sexuality and gender as two different things, and they don't, we have a long way to go, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And I don't say that in a pessimistic way. I say that in a way of, we are moving in that direction, and it's awesome because we are trying to have more visibility for trans people. But the real issues, and I think I'm going to make another video about this, but the real issues, I'm sorry, but marriage equality is not the most important thing for this movement. It's not even by a long shot. And when I see, like, gay marriage petitions and all of the things that are just, like, out in front, people putting so many resources into gay marriage petitions, I'm thinking, like, you have to understand that the people that are pushing for those issues are in a position where they want to get married and are usually have the resources to get married and all of those things, and they're not trans people who can't get access to healthcare, or people that are queer that aren't able-bodied that need those resources, that trans youth that are homeless and kicked out, and trans women of color that experience violence and harassment and all of these things on a daily basis. And we're focusing ourselves on marriage. Yes, there's so many rights that come with marriage, but they only help us when it gets passed. It's only going to help such a small amount of people. It's going to help the people that want to get married, and those rights, access to healthcare, access to, you know, your living wills and all of the things need to be, you know, we need to focus on that as a universal right blanketly, and then we can focus on marriage. Don't totally went off on a big rant there. But I just saw a lot of pride and events that I've been going at lately and things like that, and I just see marriage equality and then like a period. There's no dot dot dot, or there's not even a conversation about healthcare access for trans people, trans youth homelessness, violence against trans people of color, and non-passing trans people, and all things that are way more damn important. I'm sorry, but like trans youth homelessness is more important than some white cis gay men getting married. It really is. And violence and, you know, murder against trans women. Let's talk about that before we talk about marriage equality, because it's life or death. Healthcare access is life or death versus you getting married and the rights that come with it. And yes, there are so many benefits that marriage is going to provide, and it's so important that it is important that we have marriage. It's so important because there are so many fucked up things that people that are married, those rights that they have. But let's talk about too, why do married people have more rights than other, like that's founded in like a patriarch, I don't know how to, it's founded in the patriarchy anyway, of like you need to get a husband and wife together, two people together to like join this union and get more rights, you know, like that's like founded in the patriarchy anyway. So I think we as a community still need to dissect that a little bit. So that's my rant anyway. If I think we should talk further more about this. So comments, questions, what more deeply do you want me to go into this? Because I can just continue to rant about, or not rant, because I really think it's like we need to discuss like why this movement looks the way it is when there's bigger needs that need to be met. So let's talk about this more in the comments below. All the things, if you want me to keep making like really like topics about these that kind of come off as like, yeah, let's break this apart and let's like talk about this kind of things, like all the things, and subscribe, and yeah, so I'll keep answering your questions. And anyway, so I'll be at St. Louis Pride. That was the point of this video, but it went off in another way. But thanks for all the support. I'll continue to make videos.